Go straight to the source on this, the GOP, the Republican Party, and let's go to Sean Spicer, the Chief Strategist and Communications Director for the RNC this morning. Sean, thanks for joining me.
You bet. Good morning.
I don't know if you agree with everything that Hadass said, but I'm curious for your take on this Hannity primary in particular, because we have seen the three declared candidates so far all sit down with Hannity for the whole hour right after their announcements. Why do you think it is Hannity in particular that they're going to first?
Well, because it's smart. I mean, I think if you didn't go to Hannity, you would be sued for political malpractice. Sean has given folks an hour of time to sit there and have an informed, intelligent discussion about key issues that voters want to talk about. And then you look at the size of his audience. He's got, on average, 1.2 to 1.5 million viewers every night on his TV station, on his TV program alone. That's more than the other stations combined. So when it comes to absolute reach, you know, you can't beat Hannity. No one out there is offering an hour to sit down and have a back and forth in a substantive, long-form manner where it's not just a bunch of gotcha questions over a 3-second soundbite. So I think it's actually really smart politics for our candidates to do this. And again, then you factor in the additional piece that Sean's got a radio show with 14 million listeners that furthers that reach. I mean, it actually just comes down to marketing 101. That's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck.
Do you think more moderate candidates that may declare, people like Jeb Bush that are described as being more moderate in the Republican side, will also go to Hannity? Do you think we might see, or Chris Christie, for example?
I don't know entirely what their plan is, but I know that each one, as you've noted, have gone forward. They've all gone on Hannity right after they've announced. It's up to each campaign to make their decision, but I think it would be smart. I mean, you saw, speaking of Jeb Bush, he went toe-to-toe with Sean at CPAC, where Sean played an instrumental role, kind of doing a lot of Q&A there. So
right.
It has nothing to do with moderate or anything. Again, it's a largely marketing business decision. Sean has the numbers. He's going to have a tough, informative discussion with you about key issues. So, you know, I think that most candidates would be smart.
Soft-gloved, wouldn't you say?
What's that?
Somewhat soft-gloved, though, with these interviews.
Oh, that's right. No, actually, I would dispute that entirely. I mean, you look at the conversation he had with Jeb Bush on Common Core, the questions he's asked on immigration, on education. I mean, Sean Hannity is going to be fair, and he's going to give you a chance to answer the question. But he's going to ask you tough questions that are on the minds of GOP voters. So I dispute that, whether it's CPAC or the questions that he's asked on those shows. He's not going to give you a free ride. He's going to make sure that he's asking you questions that are on the minds of people that are out there. But Brian, the bigger thing that's interesting, in my mind, obviously from the Republican National Committee, is each one of these candidates, whether it's CPAC or on Sean's show or on Sean's radio show, are going on there for a long time, taking these tough questions, having to answer and account for their record. And yet you look at the other side of the aisle where Hillary Clinton's running around having stage-crafted events with vetted people. I mean, it is literally out of Hollywood what's going on the other side. And I think it's a huge contrast of what's going on our side. We're sitting down, and it's not just Sean Hannity, right? They all have done his show, but then they're going on Good Morning America, the Today Show, CNN, New Day, on other shows to continue this discussion. So this isn't a limited deal. They're just smart by making a first stop on Hannity and taking advantage of the size and scope of his audience. But on the other side of the aisle, Hillary Clinton won't talk to a college newspaper. I mean, she hasn't talked to a single reporter since she announced for president. She hasn't talked to a real, quote-unquote, person. Everything down to the dinner napkins has been scripted. So I like to see the fact that our side is out there having a really intelligent, engaged conversation with American voters. The other side is having a coronation that is completely scripted.
Well, I was going to ask you about Clinton, so I'm glad you brought it up. I and many others, I think, are waiting for those interviews to happen. Clinton campaign says it's not going to happen very soon, but down the road it will.
Don't doubt it.
Sean, thanks for being here this morning. I appreciate it.
You bet, Brian. Thank you.
After the